to hear exactly what the words were. So and then I looked out to see if I could read lips. And everybody else was like, so I said, so I'm not the only one who doesn't know what, okay, sooner or later, I'll either be able to see somebody's mouth, or I'll hear it loud enough that that's why. Back to our regularly scheduled program, already in progress. So I have a question. Show of hands. How many people went to the recent Eastern Region Unity Conference? Anybody? Okay, so, and that's fine. The reason I asked, I was asked to go and interpret for Bishop Shelby Spung for the opening night thing. And there was a young lady who was sitting over here when Bishop Spung opened up for Q&A, and she made this reference asking him, so, a lot of times in Unity and New Thought, we talk about this perfection, and we're perfect, and I don't believe it. I don't think we're perfect. And she went on to this, and Bishop Spung, knowing what she was talking about, said, yes, I understand exactly, and da-da-da. But being the nerd that I am, it set my mind on this spin, which we'll get to in a moment. Show of hands. How many people watched the recent week-long thing that Oprah did for Belief? Some of it, that's fine. Okay. And I ask because everybody knows what it was, though? Yeah. Okay, so there's this week of seeing different people in different faiths and how they connect to this thing that they call God. Right? And there are people jumping off of a tower into the dirt, and there's tears, and there's stuff. Just all kinds of stuff. And it made me sit down and say, well, what do I believe? Well, why do I believe that? No, seriously, why that? So it made me go very introspective, which is what I tend to do. Once again, being the nerd that I am. And oftentimes we don't sit back. For example, if I were to interview you one by one and ask, why are you here? Why do you come here? Why do you do this thing? And I don't just mean here. It's clearly you're here because this is a beautiful place. Beautiful people. So that's an obvious. I'm talking about just unity in general. Or New Thought in general. Why? Because, and I don't remember who, I think Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith said something to the effect of referencing pain, and pain will continue to push until you are pulled by your passion, pulled by your bliss, pulled by love. So you're either running from or running to. And being the person that I used to be, a lot of abuse, and you've heard the story, abuse, and hated myself, and wanted to die, and all of that stuff. And at that time, being in fundamental Christianity, it didn't do anything for me except make me feel worse. And it's funny because watching Belief and watching people who were fundamental Christians, or evangelical Christians, and it's like, wow. Wow. Which made me start thinking about, what does this mean? New Thought. Like really, what does this really mean? Because how many of us were born with an instruction manual? You buy a new phone, you buy a new stereo. Do people even have stereos anymore? You buy a new something. You buy a new stuff, because I don't know, I used to have a stereo. You buy a new something from the store, and it comes with instructions. Sometimes they're very clear. Take piece A, connect it to piece C, turn counter, it's very clear. And sometimes it's, wait a minute, where's the English? Okay, that's French. And it really isn't clear. Anybody remember the television show? I think it was mid-70s, maybe. And I can't think of the actor's name, but he was a superhero, red costume, had an instruction manual. I can't think of the name of it right now, it just dropped out of my head. Had an instruction manual to teach him how to fly and how to read minds, and greatest American hero. And he lost the instruction manual. So he was always messing up. Like he would start to fly and then crash or something.
So you think it could fly?
Why do we not have an instruction manual? When I was in church way back when, they used to say, the Bible is the... And the funny thing is, it is, but you have to have the codex to know how to decipher it. That's why the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary is a great codex, because it gives you the tools to go through and understand. Oh, that's what this... Gotcha. But other than that, we're fumbling through life trying to figure out a lot of stuff. And part of it is, we don't realize that we have the instruction manual. It's inside of us. But we don't go there often enough to actually access it to be able to put it to use. And part of that is, there's a mother bird and her 5 little birdlings. Birds. And they decide that it's time to go out and eat. So they go out and they're doing what they do, and there's a cat that spots them and slowly makes its way over. And they're completely oblivious. Makes its way over. Oblivious. Makes its way over. And just as the cat prepares to pounce, the mother bird looks up. She pushes the babies. She stands up, puffs her chest. The cat pauses and runs. At which point the mama bird turns and says, now do you understand the importance of learning a second language? Now why do I even reference the cat? Other than the fact that it was really cool and funny. But no, seriously, we don't realize that we have this amazing language that can change and transform our lives. The very way we speak tells other people what we believe. If you really think about it. If you watch, go to a store, go to a restaurant, and just sit there by yourself and just listen to conversations that you hear. You don't need to know if someone is a Baptist or Jewish or atheist. You don't need to know that, because you can hear in their language what they are, what they believe. Because many times people will say, yes, I am a Christian. Listen to them talk. No, you're not. Many times people will say, I'm an atheist. Listen to their language. No, you're not. You call it something different. What you believe. So what do we talk about? What the language that we use, what is it actually saying? So today's top title is E equals MC squared. Nerd. Who said that? Yes. Now, I will not be referencing the Albert Einstein version of E equals MC squared, just so you know, so relax. But does anyone really know what E equals MC squared really stands for? Okay. I just want to check. I just want to show my hands today. So, you ever heard of E equals MC? Okay, so E, experience or expression. Everything that we call life is our experience. It is our expression, right? So E equals MC. M, mask. C, consciousness. That's our default setting. The experience that we're having, the expression of life that we are seeing, is it coming from mass consciousness? Because if it is, then are we really demonstrating or manifesting what we want? What we say we desire? We certainly aren't going to manifest what we deserve if we're acting from mass consciousness. Because mass consciousness, race consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is the thing that says you're not good enough. The thing that says, whoa, 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 don't put yourself out there like that, you'll be vulnerable. Well, no. People will talk about that. Look, reel that in a little bit. So how can you truly be great and glorious and beautiful and amazingly powerful if mass consciousness, race consciousness, the ego mind is telling you, back it up. No, come here, I got you. You're not good enough, I'll protect you. No, that's what I'm here for. No, you're not smart enough. I got you. Can you really demonstrate and manifest the life that you say you desire and deserve if you're operating from that? No. Now, E equals MC squared. Experience or expression equals manifesting by conscious creation. Are you consciously creating, therefore manifesting, therefore experiencing the life that you want? If you are not seeing, and look around you, not even right here, look around you, and you can, look around you, because you manifested this. You manifested one another. This is your Unity by the Bay family. Each of you created this, co-created this. But look at your home. Do you have a home that it's one of these where if Steph and I were going to stop by for lunch, you're like, all right, forgive me now, the house, it's a mess. It's just so... Just saying. Is your car an extension of... You follow what I'm saying? And I'm saying this not to step on anyone's toes, because if you looked at my desk. But what I'm saying is, everything in our outward is mirroring what's going on in the inward. If mess and confusion and stuff is happening outside of us, then it's because on some level, somewhere inside of us is showing up. And the moment we clear that out, it has no choice but to outpicture. Another show of hands. Ho'oponopono. Heard of it? Know what it is? Oh, there a whole lot of hands went up on that one. Ho'oponopono. The Hawaiian method of healing, clearing, cleaning. So, Dr. E, it is said that Dr. E healed, and that's not how he would say it, but healed an entire ward of crazy people, criminally insane people, and never saw any of them as his patients. He cleared himself by saying, I'm sorry, to himself, not to his patients. He would have their chart, he would open it, look at the name, see a photo. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And he would say this till he got to a point where, because on some level, he said, I manifested this. I brought this chart, this hospital, I helped co-create this on some level, or I wouldn't be here. So he cleared himself. I'm sorry for any part that I played in bringing this to be. Please forgive me for the role I played in this. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this realization. I love you, because that's the ultimate power there is. If we already know that we have the tools, because we have it. We already have it, or you wouldn't be here. You already on some level intuit and know, yeah, new thought. The fact that it's called new thought, we know old paradigms, lack, limitation, dis-ease, discord, all of that stuff, we let it go. Why? Because we know it doesn't serve us. We know it's not doing what it could do in our life experience. What language are you using when you talk to other people? Are you using the language of your old paradigms? Are you using the language of lack when you talk about money? Even though there's that part of us in here that knows the abundance of all that is it's flowing in me, as me, through me, like we say it. all the time, every week. Divine prosperity, blessed and multiplied. All that. We say it every week. But when you're not in here, do you say it? When the bills come in and you're looking at it, the bank, pull up my bank account, Bank of America. Okay, let me check my code. BBUT. If I put that there and move it. If you're going to that place in emotion of, but I don't have it, whatever that is. Oh, I don't have enough. I got to work. Whether it's anger or fear or frustration, if that's the emotional resonance that you're going to, that's the vibration of your being, that's the song you are singing, what does one expect to demonstrate or manifest in life? You know what I mean? So if you know the language, and you do, if you have the tools within you, and you do, then our challenge is talk the talk and walk the walk, period. So when, I already told you about this finger, right? I told you a story about the finger, why it's crooked? No? Okay, real quick. So many years ago, this finger had a tumor in it. And they took it out, and when they took it out, they had to take part of the tendon out, which is why this finger looks slightly bent, for those who ever want to see it. It's slightly bent, and it's straight. And the doctor told me that my range of motion would be this, and that's all. And I said, I got you, doc, but understand, I do American Sign Language, and that's an A, and that's an S. I need to be able to close this. I do martial arts. That's a straight punch. That's a sun fist. I need to be able to close this. And he looked at me and giggled and said, I'm sorry, that's not possible. And he walked away. So when he came back, for the final, goodbye, go ahead, take it easy, have a good day. And he came back in for the final goodbye. I said, look, dude, check this out. You have kids, you read comic books? Yes, I have children, they read comic books. Why? I said, there's a comic book called X-Men. There's a character called Wolverine. Wolverine heals. Next time you see me, I'm closing this. Silly Raymont. And he walks away. And I went home and said, look, you are connected to this, which is connected to this. You don't do anything until my mind, my consciousness says move. You need to move. You need to do what I tell you to do. And eventually, it did what I told it to do. So that I went back to, thank you. So I go back to the doctor, and being the jokester that I am, 6 months later, he says, close it to the best of your ability, and I'm going to measure the range of motion. And I said, well, when you say close it as far as I can, do you mean like that, or do you just mean like that? Do that again? Do what again? Do that again or do that again? Which one did you want me to do? Same thing happened with my knee when I had reconstructive ACL surgery, and they said my range of motion wasn't going to be but whatever. Now, I tell you this to say, I did not talk about them in terms of what the doctor said for me to be so. I changed what I wanted to be as my reality. Now, if I were to ask you, can you change your reality? Many of us would say, nope. It's reality. Clearly, you can't change reality. Boop! Wrong answer. We have proof from a whole bunch of people that reality can be changed. And I'm not talking about reality to the point where walking on water, and I'm not talking about bringing it, because if I go there, y'all be like, Ray, shut up. You too silly. I'm not talking about there. I'm talking about stuff that you can envision and imagine. Because the moment I say, you do know you can walk on water, you're like, whoop, too big for me. No, you're gonna buck up against that. So let's bump it down. Was there or was there not a time when it was the reality of horse and carriage? That was the mode of transportation. Until someone said, I want to do a horseless carriage. They changed reality. How many horseless carriages are parked out there as a result of that person? Orville and Wilbur, I've mentioned them constantly, and it's because I always run these people in my mind because they prove to us that it's possible to change reality. Disney. Okay, you might know this guy, because y'all looking at me like, who are these people that you're talking about, Ray? I don't know them. There's this other guy, what's his name? You might, Steve Jobs? Yeah, it's sort of famous kind of. You heard of him? Okay, so it is said that Steve Jobs had this thing called a reality distortion field. That he was able to change the reality of himself and those who work with him. To the point where there's a story, I love this story, where he goes to one of the computer engineers. I'm not that kind of nerd, so I don't know what it's really called. I'm going to call it a computer engineer. Correct me later. Goes to the computer engineer and says, when we boot up the system, it's a little slow, it takes too long. I need you to shave 10 seconds off. And the guy says, that's not possible. I can't do it. You can't. I've tried. You can't shave 10 seconds off. And Steve pauses. What if somebody's life depended on it? Well, if somebody's life depended on it, I don't know, maybe. You just went from impossible to maybe. That's progress. And that's like progress like, it's already done. If you go from it's not possible to maybe, it's already done. 90% of the battle is already accomplished. So Steve says, okay, so check this out. Mathematically speaking, if this person logs in and it's 10 seconds, and then this person logs in, that's 20 seconds, and then 30 seconds, and then 40 seconds, and then 50. At the end of a year, how much time have we saved? Now split that up and divide it and make it individual lifetimes. How many lives have we spared in that time? And the guy says, whoa, that's deep. I need to think about that. He walks away. And he goes for however much time, and he works on it, and he comes back and says, Mr. Jobs, I did it. And Steve says, you were able to shave the 10 seconds off? No, sir. I did 20. How do you go from impossible to maybe to 10, which was what was asked, to going above and beyond to 20? These are regular, everyday people who are changing and transforming the world of science and medicine and arts, television and media. Everything in the world is being changed and transformed. How? Because you are it. You are the creator showing up as you. How could you not be creating and demonstrating and manifesting amazing things in life? But the question is, are you doing it by default? Because you're doing it. You are a master of this, regardless. It's just, are you a master at creating junk or a master at creating masterpieces? The very first time I spoke at Unity, by the way, I did a workshop, spiritual architecture. Is there anybody that was in that? Oh, okay, way back when. And was that? So way back when, my very first time, right? So this concept of spiritual architecture. You are the master architect of your life experience. And when you put to use the skills that you have and create the blueprint of your life, you get to dwell in that structure, that building, that whatever that is. Are you going to live in something because your mom and dad said you're not good enough to live in that? You're going to live in this. Because your doctor says you're not healthy enough to live in that, so live in this. Because some teacher somewhere said you're not smart enough to live in that, so live in this. So you live in and pay rent for what they tell you to live in. Or you say, I'm going to evict myself I know it's not really called that, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm leaving, pack my bags, you can keep that stuff because that's junk anyway, and I'm gone. Jason Silva, host of Mind Games, Brain Games, one or the other, says that, and there's a philosopher who says that we create our tools. We create the things that we use, structures in which we live. And once they're created, they return the favor. They impact us. Now think about that. Someone created this piano, right? Somebody thought of it, created it. And in the act of creating it, they gave it life. But every time someone sits at it, the piano is in and through them. It's a dance, a cooperative. It's the exact same thing with our homes, our cars, our clothing. Because the things we wear say something about us, or we wouldn't wear them. We have our, I look good in this color, or that color, or not that color. I like the way this fabric feels. We do this all the time, but oftentimes we do it by default, rather than by design. So the challenge is, are you happy? You don't have to answer it to yourself. Are you happy? And I mean happy unconditionally, where you wake up happy just because you did. You're happy because you are, not because you just got a promotion. Not because I just lost 3 more pounds. Not because of any, just because. Happiness is my choice and I choose it. That's why I'm happy. Are you living your bliss on purpose, passionately? Are you still doing things for other people because I feel obligated? You know, I do that for my mom because if I don't, she's going to... I'm working at this job because, are we still doing that? Are we ready to say, enough? I'm ready to walk on water. I'm ready to feed the multitudes. I'm ready to do what I'm called to do. And that's be the Christ while on this earth. That is to be a light unto the world. Regardless of how I feel about that. A couple of months ago, I challenged you. I dared you to be great. I'm throwing the gauntlet again. Start making your experience and your expression manifesting by conscious creation. Decide each day, how do I want to live my life today? I want to be the cause and see the effect show up. And I make that choice. I'm going to embody life. I'm going to embody joy. I'm going to embody love. I'm going to embody the Christ. That's the language I'm going to use. That's the formula I'm going to create by. Because I deserve it.